are the notes for Unit 2, Day 7. And in class, we're going to be doing an investigation. So these notes are setting up your calculator so that you can have all the settings in the proper settings for the investigation. So you need your calculator right now, so that your handheld one, so that you can set up these parameters. And you're also going to obviously want to bring that calculator to class with you for the investigation. Also, in the next class, before we do our investigation, we're going to have our Unit 2 Quiz 1 in AP Classroom in College Board, in your College Board account. Okay, so the notes start on page 20 of your note packet, and that's where the investigation is. And I believe on page 21 is where you're going to write this essential question. So we are going beyond polynomial expressions. We are going beyond the power rule. So what we're looking at now is taking derivatives of trigonometric functions. So our essential question then is, what are the derivatives of trigonometric functions and how will I remember them? Okay, so this then gets into setting up your parameters on your calculator. So we've got a couple of setups that we need to do. We have a window setup and we have a table setup. And then what you're going to be doing is you're going to be using, you're going to be graphing the function, in this case, sine of x, and then you're going to let your calculator differentiate it for you. Okay, and so you remember your calculator can differentiate for you. Now, this is the cool thing. Usually your calculator only finds the value of the derivative at one point, but in graphing mode, if you put an x out here instead of a number, this is only in graphing mode, then you actually can have the calculator generate the graph of the derivative of the sine of x, okay, or of any function really. So that's super powerful. And that will help us a lot, because once we see this derivative, we're going to recognize it as a function. Okay, so we need to set up these parameters on our calculator. So we need to go into our calculator here, get that out of the way. And we need to go into, like if we're in the calculator page here, we need to go into the window. So click on window, and we need these settings. Because if you think about graphing sine of x, right? Sine of x over 2 pi looks like, right? So we need to set this up. So we're going to type in 0, an arrow down, and we're going to type in 2 pi, 2, and then second pi. An arrow down, notice how it automatically calculates it for you. We're going to leave the scale at 1. Since we have sine, we know that it oscillates between -1 and +1. So we're going to overshoot that. We're going to go negative 1.5 and positive 1.5. So we're really zooming in this. Y scale of 0, resolution of 1, delta x is will automatically be generated for you. So now we've got the appropriate window. Okay, now what we're going to do, we need table values for our investigation. So we are going to go to the table setup. Okay, and the table setup is where is it? Oh, it's right here, table set. There we go. It's right above the window key. So second table set. And we are going to start at 0. And we are going to count. We need to count by a fraction of a pi, right? So notice pi over 4 we're grabbing. And so we're going to count by pi over 4. So we're going to go pi divided by 4. Think about that. 3.14 divided by 4 is about 3/4, right? So when I hit arrow down, it's going to give me something about 3/4. And then we have auto and auto. Okay, so you could even go this far. We can even put this in y1. We're going to put sine x in here. First, we're going to make sure our mode is in radian, so we're good there. And we're going to go ahead and graph sine of x. I'm not going to graph the derivative. I'll let you set that up in the investigation in class. So when we graph this, we can see this nice sine curve. When we look at the table, we can see all the table values for pi over 4, 2 pi over 4, which is pi over 2, Here's 3 pi over 4, here's 4 pi over 4, right, pi. And so we're going to quickly grab all those values and graph those and trace it so that we have something on our investigation that looks like this. Okay, and then for you in the investigation, you're gonna graph y2. So you'll have a different graph here, and you can graph that just right down here, arrow down, and put it right there. And then you're going to graph that, and it's going to give you a different graph, and you're going to go into the table, and you're going to have these different values that you can, again, record and sketch the graph in your investigation. So that's kind of the extent of the investigation. And then here's the essential question again, which we've already got written down on the next page. Hopefully, if not, you can write that down on the next page now to prepare you for the rest of the investigation. And then just another reminder again that we have that quiz at the beginning of class before we start the investigation.